All right, everybody. Hey, thank you so much for joining me. So, what we're going to talk about today are your top 10 ways to sell any deal in today's market, right? So, lots of different things you can do. And the reason that we came up with this list was back years and years ago when I was first hiring our dispositions team and forming them and putting them together. What would happen is I would give them things that we needed to be doing, but it wasn't quite organized. So what would happen is we would be going through our lists and our meetings and reports and things like that, and it would be so frustrating because I would say, "Gee whiz, there are 10 things we're supposed to be doing, and we're only doing 6 of them, and never the same 6, right?" So we were having the struggle of that consistency. So that was where this list was born out of, right? So let's go ahead and get started. So number one, the first thing that you should be doing is you should have a website. You should have a website where you're posting all of your deals, right? Someplace that buyers can go to consistently to see what inventory you have, right? So first thing, post on your website. Now, let's talk about that for just a minute. So you've got a website, right? Okay. So the address and the price, right? You want to have some more information than that. Here's the way that we approach it, and I was training somebody just yesterday on building out our website, our listings. So here's how I want you to think about it. Can your buyer make a buying decision from the information that's on your website? All right. So do you have good pictures? Do you have a good video? Is there a video tour of the property? Do you have all of the information that the buyer is going to need? So what's the bedrooms? How many bathrooms? What's the square footage? How big is the lot? How much are the taxes? All of that information should be included on there, as well as pictures and a video so that your buyer can see everything about that property. And that will cause less showings, less questions, and you'll only spend your time talking to serious buyers. All right? So make sure you get your properties up on a website. Okay, number 2, the next thing you should be doing with all of your properties is you should be emailing these out to your VIP buyers, to your buyers list, right? Whether you're new or you've been doing this for 10 years, 13 years, 15 years like I have, you should always be talking to buyers and collecting their phone number and their email address. Every buyer that you talk to, even if they're not interested in a property that they happen to be calling about or that you're talking to them about or emailing back and forth, you want to be gathering that information and compiling a database, right? And everybody starts from zero, so it doesn't matter where you're at today. I remember when I first started, I was keeping, this database on an Excel sheet, right? I had name, phone number, email, and then I had a little bit of their criteria. So start collecting those, and then if you're in multiple markets, sort them, right? So Denver, Colorado market, Miami, Florida market, New York market, right? So sort them somehow so that because you don't want to be sending the people in Los Angeles deals from Peoria, Illinois. So you should definitely be emailing those properties out to your buyers. A couple things you want to be doing here. Again, very catchy title, right? All of us get a lot of emails every single day, and we're all scrolling through, so you want something that's going to be a catchy title. If you need help with that, there are plenty of books on copywriting that you can buy that are really short that can give you some great ideas and inspiration. On the email, you want to have a good picture of the front of the property, right? So, like a horizontal picture kind of the front of the property so that people know what it is that they're looking at. If your front picture is really bad, maybe there's a good picture of the kitchen or the living room or something inside the property that you want to use as your main photo. But you want to have a photo, you want to be emailing that out, you want to have a link to your website, right? Now, your website, you may want to have a squeeze page there. And what a squeeze page is it forces somebody to enter in their information so that they can get to, the info behind the squeeze page. So make sure you're emailing your buyers, make sure that there's enough information to either A, push them to the website, or B, call me so I can tell you about this property. this won't last long. You have to create a sense of urgency with your buyers. But email, very important. We sell a lot of deals that way. Three, the next thing you should be doing is as you're talking to all of these buyers and you're collecting phone numbers and emails and all these different things and buying criteria, you're going to have that list of phone numbers. Text those buyers, right? And this doesn't have to be anything super fancy. You don't have to spend $1 million on a texting platform. In the very beginning when I started, every buyer who called me, I stored them in my phone as buyer. So what does that mean? That meant they were sortable, so I could go into my contacts and I could sort buyer, right? Now, if you have if you have a bigger list of buyers, what you can do is you can drop that into a texting platform, Sly Broadcast, Batch I think has one, FreedomSoft has one. Lots of CRMs have the ability to text, and then you can text those buyers. Now, got to be very simple here, right? It's a text. So it's got to be something that really piques somebody's interest. So you may just want to be, hey, this is David. I've got this new property in Denver, Colorado. Super cheap, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Call me if you're interested. That's it. Doesn't have to be all the information. Doesn't have to be a link to the website. Just something very simple. Because again, you want to grab their attention and go, so the buyer looks in and goes, oh, well, I'm interested in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Denver, Colorado. Let me call David and see what he's got. That's what you're looking for. Do not give too much information, because what will happen is if you give too much information, you're going to exclude somebody, right? So you're like, David, I don't want somebody calling me who only wants 6-bedroom houses and I've got a 2-bedroom house. That's true. However, you always have to be thinking ahead. We're always in build list mode. Right? So we want to talk to as many people as we can so that I can get their criteria. So somebody calls you and says, hey, that's not really what I'm interested in. Fantastic. What are you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for 6-bedroom, 4-bathroom houses that I can put students in. Whatever, right? Doesn't matter. Super. I feel like I've got something like that coming up. Let me get all of your information so as soon as I have that, I can call you or get a hold of you. What's the best email? What's the best phone number to shoot you a message on? How do you like for me to get a hold of you? Are you better with text, phone calls, or emails? Now you're building that list. And over time, that perpetuates itself and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and grows like a snowball. So make sure that you are texting your buyers. Number 4, Facebook. Facebook. People can goof on Facebook all they want, but it is an incredible tool for getting a hold of people, right? So was having a meeting with a social media consultant yesterday, and well, Facebook's for older people and the younger crowd isn't there. That's fine. How many 18-year-olds are buying investment properties? Not too many, right? Most of the people buying investment properties are older people, right? 35, 40, right? That's the people with the money. So Facebook is a great place to be. So you should have a Facebook page for your wholesale business, the selling side of your wholesale business. Your buying side of your wholesale business should be a different page, and they should never be connected, right? Because you don't want to put somebody's house under contract and then them go to the same Facebook page and go, oh, my house is now listed for sale for $9,000 more. So keep those separate. Pro tip there. So Facebook, list your property on your Facebook page. Again, a little bit more info than an SMS, but not all the info that's on your website. Why? Because you either want them to go to the website and go through the squeeze page and give you their information, or they call you, right? When they call you, hey, what are you looking for? Oh, maybe this doesn't fit your criteria. Let me get all of your information and exactly your criteria so that I can add you into the list, right? So Facebook, everything is pushing people. You want to jump on the phone with them. It's very difficult to sell a property via text, instant message, Facebook message, any of those things. So you want to jump them to a phone call just as quick as you can. Where not to post. Unless you're lonely, I do not recommend posting to Facebook Marketplace, because what's going to happen, Facebook makes it so easy for people to press that I'm interested button, I'm interested, right? So Um, if you do that, you're going to get a lot of those messages, and you're going to spend a lot of time responding to people. Um, Another tip, make sure you put on there, this is a cash sale. Only looking for cash buyers. Looking for a cash buyer who can close quick. If you want, you can also say this is an assignment of contract. I don't usually put that in there because that confuses people. But either way, but yeah, Facebook Marketplace will drive you crazy. So, and also you run the danger there of a seller seeing their property listed on the marketplace. So always be sure not to put it on marketplace. Number 5, RVM. All right, ringless voicemail. So you should check in your area to see if there's any issues with that or any legalities, or some states have it where you can't do RVMs. But if you can, it's a fantastic way to get a hold of a lot of people really fast, really cheap. So what a ringless voicemail is it drops a message into somebody's phone. Maybe it'll ring once or the phone will just blink once, and it just kind of bypasses them, so they won't pick it up. It just goes right to voicemail, ringless voicemail. Fantastic tool. What it does, it allows you to get a hold of a lot of people very quickly. Same thing as SMS, very simple message. Hey, this is David. Just was calling to see if you're still investing in the Denver, Colorado area. I've got an off-market property that's really cheap that I was looking to move pretty quick. Give me a call if you're interested. That's it. Bye. Short, sweet, very upbeat. Because again, your goal here is to get them to call you back. So ringless voicemails are fantastic. You can drop 1,000 of those for like $10, and really multiplies your effort, and use technology to broadcast your message out there as quick as you can. So ringless voicemail, fantastic tool. Number 6, boy, manually call your VIP buyers, right? So one thing that I always did as I was starting out, and I was keeping this database of buyers, and I was storing people who called into my phone. I was storing them and making sure I kept track of what type of property they were looking for in what area, right? So if Joe called me and Joe said, hey, I'm looking for red duplexes on the Blue Hill, I would store that in my phone. Joe, red duplexes on Blue Hill, buyer, right? So I had a way to go back, and when I got the red duplexes, I'm like, oh, let me search my phone for people who were in here for red duplexes, or by street, or however you want to store that, right? So that's a very old caveman way of doing it, but that's essentially what a CRM is now, right? So whether you use FreedomSoft or another service, is you want to always be keeping track of as much information about your buyers as you can. So that's why one thing we teach in our course, it's really important how you screen buyers, but you want to be getting as much information about their buying criteria as you can, because sooner or later you'll have a property that fits that buyer's needs, right? Needs or wants. So pick up the phone and call those people. Hey, Joe, this is David. Hey, man, you called me last week. You were looking for, red duplex on the Blue Hill. Hey, man, I got what I think is exactly what you're looking for. You have a minute to talk, right? Call your buyers. As great as technology is, and we always want to leverage that, Facebook, Instagram, texting, email, websites, all those things, nothing beats the personal connection of calling a buyer and them hearing that excitement in your voice. Hey, I got this amazing deal. I want to talk to you about it. Oh, tell me, what do you got? Right? So do not be afraid to pick up the phone and talk to a buyer. All of the things that we talk about here at some point have to lead to a phone conversation. It's going to be very, very, very rare that you ever sell something without actually picking up the phone, right? I can tell you I've done it, but in the 12 years that I've been wholesaling full time, generally it is somebody who I've already sold something to, and we have a relationship, and they'll text me, hey, is this available? Yes, it is. Do you want me to send you a contract? Yeah, send it over, right? But that's because I've built a lot of rapport with them over the years, and they know, like, and trust me. So typically, very rare that that's going to happen. Does it happen? Sure, right? 1 out of 30, 1 out of 50. It's not going to be the way you run your business. So do not be afraid to get up, pick up the phone, manually call people, especially people that you got in your buyers list. that this property fits their criteria. So manually call your buyers, invaluable, make that connection, and sell your deal. All right, number 7. Very surprising. You're not going to believe this. Post your deal to Craigslist. What? Craigslist? That old website that doesn't have any pictures on it? Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, we sell 1 or 2 properties a month from Craigslist, right? The people call in off of those ads or email us back and we jump on the phone. Because here's the thing. A lot of older investors from 10 years ago, that was all there was, right? That was your go-to spot to find properties. So you'd be amazed how many buyers still go through Craigslist once a day just to see what's out there, right? So post your deals to Craigslist. Again, same thing. If you've got a website with a squeeze page, post a little bit of information. Hey, go to our website for more information. When they go to the website, they have to put in their name, phone number, and email. For a squeeze page, that's how you're building out your buyers list. Or, hey, here's a picture. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, the south side of Denver, Colorado. Give me a call. This one won't last long. All right, so posting to Craigslist, fantastic tool. Still works, still produces buyers. I mean, definitely do it. If you're not doing it, you're missing out. It's going to cost you sales every month or make your deals harder to sell. So Craigslist, make sure that you are doing it. Okay, we're going to talk about some really old school stuff. But you know what? The old school stuff still works. So, bandit signs. What? Bandit signs? Yeah, those little street signs. We buy houses. Except when you're selling a property, what I like to do is get blank signs, and I'll get a marker. Dirt cheap house for sale. Must sell today. 50% off, something like that, right? Something that grabs the attention. And I'll make up 20 or 30 of those. And what I'll do, kind of the way I think about it, if the property's vacant and the seller's not close by, I'll put some signs like that in the front yard, right? Even a banner. Like you can buy blank banner material, handwrite your banner, and zip tie it or nail it up to the front of the house. We have sold so many houses from people just driving by the house that they're not on any list. They're not, maybe they've never bought a property or they're, listed under an LLC or something. Can't tell you how many times I put up signs, banner, decorated the front yard like it's used car lot because you want to draw a lot of attention, right? This is marketing. What we're doing here, all of these things are marketing. So I've done that. I get back to the office, hey, I just drove by this house. I saw a banner, house for sale. What's going on? Oh, fantastic. What you looking for? Right? So now we get into a conversation and the buyer script. But, make sure people see that this property is for sale. So also, remember we're doing 20 or 30 signs. So we'll put a couple signs in the front yard, right? Maybe one says house for sale. Maybe you want to put a price on it. Maybe one says 3-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever. Because again, you want to draw attention to the property if somebody drives by. But then we're going to put them at the end of the street. Maybe around it, maybe at some of the major intersections. I may put some at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, right, where are high traffic areas. So maybe if I'm in Denver, Colorado, I'll go to all the Home Depots within 5 or 10 miles because who shops at Home Depots? Investors, landlords, contractors, right? People that we want to sell to. Fixer-upper for sale, dirt cheap, call me. Your phone will melt. These people will call you because they're looking for their next deal. So around your property, in front of the property, if you can. Now, if the seller still lives there, obviously we can't do that. If the seller lives next door or his wife or aunt lives next door, don't do that, right? But in that area, there are going to be people who invest in that area and they're always driving through, right? People have farm areas, or maybe they're a landlord going to collect rent. So you definitely want to be doing bandit signs. Don't sleep on it. Here's the thing. In all of investing, no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing lead gen or trying to sell something, generally the harder it is, less people will do it because people are lazy, right? Don't be lazy. So they sleep on things like this, right? And I'm here to tell you, bandit signs work, street signs works. That's why politicians use them. That's why churches use them. That's why the soccer team uses them. Hey, soccer tryouts starting this Friday, right? There are a lot of people that use street signs because they still work. You should be doing them too. Street signs are so cheap. You can buy a box of street signs, the big 24 by 36 or 18 by 24, whatever size they are, with stands for probably $3 or $4 each, right? So for $100, you can go put out these signs and your phone will ring, I promise you. Again, maybe that person isn't interested in the property you have, but you want to be getting their information, name, phone number, email criteria. So bandit signs, do not neglect that. Fantastic way to sell properties. I've sold hundreds of properties with bandit signs. All right, number 9. Not usually the first thing that we'll do, but if we have a property that's in maybe a rural area or we've picked something up where we don't have a great buyer's list, one of the things that we'll do is we'll text blast local agents. And honestly, there's not that many usually, right? We want to maybe text the top 20, so we'll do them individually. Hey, Penelope, I've got an off-market property that I'm looking to sell. Do you have any cash buyers who are buying right now? I'd love to pay you a commission. Call me. All right. So you'll have a little bit lower response rate from realtors, but you want to be searching, right? Like I'll go to Zillow and I'll search for buyers agents because there are people that are looking for properties for buyers, so they will have sometimes cash buyers. I'll search for agents who have the most reviews and who seem like they've been around for a long time, and I'll send them a message. Hey, do you have any cash buyers? I've got an off-market deal that I'm trying to move. Not looking to list it, but I'd love to pay you a commission if you have a buyer. It's a good strategy. It works, especially if you're dropping into a brand new market where you maybe don't have a buyer's list built up and you haven't learned how to generate one of those really quickly. So text blasting buyers, very good strategy. Okay, number 10, and this is something that we do all the time, and it doesn't always pay off immediately, but it has very great long-term results that we generate. And that is, we send a postcard to buyers, right? So we'll go online and generate a list of cash buyers who have recently purchased properties in a particular area, and those people we're skip tracing, we'll call or ringless voicemail or SMS. But what we'll also do is send them a postcard. So 2 types of postcards you can send. You can go in a prop stream, generate a postcard for an individual property. Hey, I've got 123 Main Street for sale, $62,000, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, whatever. And email or send that out. And they cost about 55 cents a piece. Pretty inexpensive. So you can do that. What I've been doing for years and years and years is quarterly, I would take my entire buyer's list and for the people that I had an address for, and I would send them a buyer, hey, Nationwide Property Liquidators, we have incredible off-market deals. Go to our website to get a current list. All right? So I send those postcards out. The buyer gets that, goes, oh, well, I'm interested in off-market cheap properties. Let me see what they've got. They go to the website. Remember, now there's a squeeze page. I have to put in my name, phone number, email to get past that to see what the inventory is. If they buy, they buy. If they don't, they don't. But that's okay because now I've got their information, and now I'm going to call them, text them, ringless voicemail, email them. Right? So we're always in the mode of building that buyer's list. Do not ever forget that. You're always building for your next deal. Right? So postcards, individual postcards you can send for a particular property. Hey, 123 Main Street, I'm selling this. See this property and more like it at nationwidepropertyliquidators.com. They go to the website, they have to enter in their information. Now you've got them. Now you're building up that buyer's list. So the next time you have a property or 2 properties or 3 properties, over time you build that up and you can start to move faster and faster and faster and faster, right? That's what the pros do. So postcards, do not sleep on postcards. They're a fantastic way to build your list. You can do it cheap, right? You can go to any postcard manufacturer, and if you just want to order, I think you can order like 5,000 postcards for like $110. Like postcards are really cheap. They'll send them to you in a box, and if you want, then you can get your buyer's list, just print off labels, stamp them yourself, send them off, or you can do it online and just upload your list and let them send it out. So both of those things work. Costs a little bit of money, not a ton, probably less than bandit signs, to be honest with you, but it will definitely produce and gives you that recurring flow of buyers into your website, right? So definitely postcards, great strategy. We do it on every single deal, and I promise you, after a year or two of doing this, it's just going to keep building and building and building your buyers list. So definitely do that. All right, so that is my top 10 things that we do on every single property, every single week. Every time we get a property, we do all of those things, right? We do 10 things, we do it every time, and that's why we sell a lot of deals, right? If you go through that list and you go, oh, that's dumb, I'm just gonna pick 2 or 3 and do those 2 or 3, well, you're probably only gonna get 30 or 40, 50, maybe 50% of the results that a company like ours is getting, right? This is why we're the pros. This is why we do $1 million a year in assignment fees, because we have a list, we have a procedure, and we do it every single time. So make sure that you're doing those things. It will give you a lot of success. I hope that helped you. And if there's anything else I can do, please reach out to me. You can find me on social media at David Olds, REI. Instagram is the easiest place to get a hold of me. Follow me, send me a message. I'll be happy to answer it and help you out in any way that I can. Are you still here? You're still here. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're still here. I'd like some bonus things, right? So we talked about the 10 things that we do on every deal, but sometimes we have to do more, right? Sometimes you get a hard to sell deal, or you just maybe don't have a good enough buyer's list, or you just, like, for some reason, you're just struggling a little bit. So let's talk about some bonus things that you can do. First thing, same thing as the SMS, those SMS for local realtors, give them a call. Again, just like calling your buyer's list, calling an agent is going to get a far higher response than just shooting them a message. Same thing, you want to be clear, right? Hey, I'm an investor. I've got an off-market deal. You have a deal, not a property. Be very careful when talking with realtors because words matter, unless you're an agent. If you're an agent, then you can say whatever you want. But if you're not, hey, I've got an off-market deal that I want to move. Do you have any cash buyers looking for investment properties? You do? Fantastic. I'd love to pay you a commission. And don't be cheap. Pay them 3%, right? Nobody's going to work for you for 2%, 1.5%, or $500. Pay people what they're worth. I promise you that realtor will continue to bring you buyers, and you'll have a great relationship with them. And honestly, if you can't afford 3%, your assignment fee's too low. You probably contracted it too high. But pay people what they're worth. So call agents, get on the phone. Again, it's one of those things. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take some energy. You're going to have to call 50 or 60 people, but it will help you sell your deal if going through those first 10 things did not work. So get on the phone, call agents, sell that deal. All right, another bonus, another thing. Here's what we do. So we'll pull a list of buyers. We've called them, we've emailed them, we've ringless voicemailed them, SMS, we've done all those things. We've sent postcards, we've all of those things, and we're still struggling to find that buyer, right? So here's what I'll do. I'll have one of the girls go in, and let's say the house is at 123 Main Street, right? So now we're going to go into PropStream. We're going, okay, we got to dig a little deeper here, right? So kind of think of it as like the iceberg, right? Now we're going below the water's edge, and we got to dig just a little bit deeper. So what I'll do is if I can draw, depending upon who you're using to pull comps, if I can draw an area, or if I have to just do a radius, now I'm going to search for all absentee buyers. Every absentee buyer for the last 20 years. In a small area, right? Don't do this for 5 miles because you'll get too big of a list. So, I'm in maybe a search for a quarter mile around my property. I want every absentee owner. Absentee owners are investors, probably landlords, right? So every absentee owner within a quarter of a mile, and I'm going to skip trace those people, and I'm going to jump on the phone and give them a call. Hey, Steve, saw you got this house over on Elm Street. I've got one over on Main Street that I'm trying to get rid of. Looks like you're a landlord. Are you interested in any more properties? So normally you're only searching for buyers who've purchased within the last 6 months, maybe a year. But if that didn't work, or you're in a rural area and there's not a lot of activity, this is what you can do. Go back and just search all the way back in time, and let's find all of the absentee owners and give them a call and say, hey, are you looking for another property? Because I'm a landlord. If you talk to any landlord, one thing that's amazing is having a bunch of properties close to each other, right? Because it's easier to manage. So I've got one street where I have almost the whole street, and it's fantastic because I have one guy who lives in one of my apartment buildings, and he's able to take care of all of those. So definitely do that, and hopefully that will work for you. So give it a shot. Okay, here is another one. I'm going to give you some really good stuff here. So glad you hung out. So when you're pulling a buyer's list, you're going to get a lot of corporations. And corporations are going to be a little tougher to get a hold of, right? Because if you look up me, David Olds, like you run me through a skip tracing thing, I'm very easy to find. But maybe if I put one of my companies, it's not quite as easy to find. So here's what you can do. So you can manually skip trace them. So what you can do is you can take that company's name, put it into Google, and see what pops up, right? This is a little bit more work. You're going to be a little bit more like Secret Sleuth here, or Inspector Gadget, or, Sherlock Holmes. So you're putting that LLC name into Google. Let's see what pops up, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing you could do is go to opencorporates.com, put in the LLC name, and generally it will show up who the registered agent is. Most times, the registered agent is really the owner, right? Because a lot of us are cheap and we don't want to pay an attorney to be the registered agent. So typically we will be the registered agent. So take that person and skip trace them, or take that person and put them into your not CRM, but like your prop stream or something, and search that person. It's either name or address and see what pops up, and you should be able to find them. The other thing you could do is if you do get like a weird company name like SFR352B, right? And you'll get those weird, really alphabetical names. Those are probably hedge funds, right? So, throw that name into Google and see if you can find some kind of results. So that will definitely help with corporations. Now, again, you're probably not going to be able to RVM, text blast those people, because typically those phone numbers are for an office, right? So you have to manually call those people, but that's a great way to track them down. All right, here's some real ninja stuff, right? So you're struggling to sell your property, and maybe it's a rental, or maybe it even has tenants in it. Who should you contact, right? So while you're in the process of tracking down all of your, maybe absentee owners that own a property within that half a mile, here's what else I would do. Put in that zip code into Google and put that zip code in property managers. Right? Call the local property managers and say, hey, my name's David. I've got a deal that I'm trying to sell. It's a tenant-occupied property. Do you have any clients that are looking for more properties? I promise you, they probably know, right? And most, to be a property manager in most states, you have to also be a broker, right? So tell them, hey, if you bring me a buyer, I'll be happy to pay you 2.5% or 3%. I'd love to do it. So why would they want to help you? Because it's going to be good for them. Because one, they can help out their buyer, or their client rather. They'll probably, if they have that client, they're going to pick up a new property so that they can make more money on, right? Because property managers make money from managing properties, and you're going to pay them. So there's a couple different pluses for them. So do not be afraid to reach out and build relationships with property managers. Fantastic sort of ninja resource that most people overlook. Yeah, property managers. good stuff. Okay, so here's the last thing. Again, not our A item, not the thing that generates 80% of the sales, but it will generate sales, is make sure you're posting your properties and your company on other sites. Bigger Pockets, Connected Investors, LinkedIn. Throw it up on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of those things, right? So maybe some of them you do like a little 30-second walkthrough. Hey, investors, I got this really great deal. You can make $100,000 on this deal. Just as a walkthrough on TikTok, you can post it to Instagram Reels, post it on Instagram. Let's say I talked about Connected Investors. Bigger Pockets has a lot of great forums. So definitely, sort of do your top 10 things first. Do your top 10 things every time. But then once you get past that, if you're still struggling after a week, look into some of these bonus extra things or extra strategies and see if you can use those to move your deal. Right. So that's what I want you to take away from all of this is kind of think a little bit outside the box. Don't be I'm going to send out an email and just wait. Right. Maybe you don't have the right buyer on there. So these are all the strategies that we teach in our mastermind and coaching course, but hopefully this will help you. That is 15 great ways to sell your property. That will definitely get you started. If there's anything I can do, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you. Hope that you all have an amazing day.